To the top right-hand side of this best of 3, we do have our pink Zerg player. This is Stephano. And to the bottom left-hand side, the red Terran player from XED Sports is Clem. Get ready for sticking with us during the downtime, waiting to get this game started, but here we are, we're ready to go, and ready to see what's going to happen in this best of 3 as we get set up and off and away into this. And looking to see what will be happening, and already Clem is going to be opening with a little bit of aggression, looking to get the 2 racks on the upper left-hand side of the map, on the top side of the map here. Interested to see how this is going to go. Just a couple of racks on the way down, hatcheries on the way up on the natural, and obviously so far Stephano is not really en route at all to scout a proxy racks or anything, so this is not pretty for him at the moment. In fact, this is really bad for Stephano at the moment. It could not be going worse for him at the moment. So Clem, looking to get going with this. Now, he did open for proxy against Guru yesterday, and it didn't do too well, and that was the game that went 1 hour and 45 minutes long. So we can definitely expect pretty much anything from this at the moment here. As we do have 2 racks just on the way through, going to be finishing up, and we do just have this spawning pool and the gas finishing up in the main base in the next few moments to start getting a setup against this little bit of a 2 racks play. I wonder if Clem is just going to go with the SCVs to start bunkering up as we are going to get ready to start this. A couple of Marines on the way. One bunker starts, second bunker as well, maybe in a moment. Obviously, Stephano still doesn't even see this right now. A drone coming down to the low ground is going to see the bunker for the first time, and this is his first sort of warning sign that this is going on, as we do have the first Marine hitting away on this hatchery. So, already kind of coming in here and starting to do a little bit of damage. Looking good so far to start picking away through. This is a couple of spine crawlers on the way up from Stephano. Just a couple of spines on the way up, and, well, I mean, does Clem let those come up? I don't think he sees them right now, which is a little bit of a shame. Now, he sees them now. I wonder if he wants to try and go for them. He's actually going to get another bunker here. That's so far forwards. All 4 Marines in this bunker initially, and those Lings are taking a long time to get rid of the SCV. Does get it, but took a little while as the SCV now jumps to the other side. Will continue to build there. First spine crawler going to get ready to come into position. With only 1 SCV to repair, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Clem to actually keep this bunker alive than you might initially think. Trying to get a little bit more damage done. These Marines coming around the top side because they want to jump into the bunker, and they do actually manage to keep it alive here as he does swap bunkers up a little bit. This SCV needs to try and get out on the other side, but he can't right now, and so the Lings are going to break on through, and these bunkers are going to continue taking a little bit of a beating. Repairing where he can. The fact he's got 3 bunkers up means that all the Lings will go down. Oh no! This bunker stays alive. That's actually a huge issue, because if that bunker stays alive, Stephano has to throw even more at it now to get rid of it. And Clem, this 1 SCV has repaired it up to a little point of safety. Another Marine also jumping in. SCV gets to the safer side to keep on repairing. Marines are going to jump out and actually start fighting against it. Lings come through once more, and, well, this top bunker is probably going to fall down, sure, but so is this hatchery in the next couple of moments. Transfuse comes down, though, actually. Keeps the hatch alive for the moment. Clem behind this, by the way. Factory with a reactor on it. Starport coming through. And he's looking to be very aggressive in a follow-up here. Stephano's thrown a lot to try and break this so far, and so far he's not been able to. As we do have another couple of Marines continuing to come on over. Another couple of Marines trying to break through in the next couple of moments. These Marines are out of the bunkers. The Lings start to move forwards. There's just no way they can commit on anything right now. There's transfusions available. It's targeting the spine, targeting Queens isn't going to work out for him. The Lings are the best thing that Clem can pick off at the moment, and he does get the trade on the Zerglings. The barracks lift up, they start to head home. The command center on the natural just now begins to build with a full worker lead. Clem starts up a starport with Cloak. He's got a couple of Hellions out to deal with the Lings, but I think Stephano's held on. Has he held on well enough? It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's held on well enough here just initially, because he's had to... It's always a weird position, because obviously the CC is very late, but he's also going to have to deal with Banshees still. He's still going to have to deal with that. He lost a lot of Lings in this process. Resources loss is 1,050 to 726. In a game where Clem's had more income up until now, and this hatchery is still low. It's still vulnerable later in this game. have to be very careful about it. Obviously, there's Queens with transfuse energy for now, which is going to be a big part of it. As Hellion going down. Clem doesn't want to lose those. He needs to try and keep those up. So, one Hellion taking a couple of shots and now coming back in to try and help out. Going around the right side, we are going to be seeing a little bit of a movement here from those Hellions, just trying to get up to something in the next few moments. As we do see Cyclone, Banshee on the way out. Command Center on the natural expansion is going to get set up as well here. I like the Cyclones. I think the Cyclones really make this follow-up attack very powerful. He's probably going to add an armory and go for like a Hellbat Cyclone attack. Something that can maybe break through into, break through a third base, punish Stephano who's trying to drone up quickly or something at this stage of the game. This Hellion is still just gathering together in Queens. Going together too. This Banshee in the main base takes a couple of shots of damage. A lot of spores building over here, and I guess just, I don't even know why he's building the spores here. Maybe he was just trying to save drones initially. I don't imagine he needs all of those, and as the Banshee backs away, they will indeed cancel. So it was indeed just to save it from the Banshee, which coming in did grab 4 kills already. So that is something. A second Banshee coming up to the top side as well. Clem has a huge army supply right now. He just doesn't have the armory, and I really feel like the armory is like a game changer in this attack. If you have like 5 Hellbats with these couple of Cyclones, that is so strong in comparison to 5 Hellions and a couple of Cyclones. The addition of the few Marines coming across as well is cute, but with a lot of Lings coming out, I'm just not sure if it's enough here for Clem to really get damage done towards the third base. Banshees are going to try and hit the main base once again, maybe pull the Queens out of position at the very least. Now, there's just no way. There's too many Queens. They have transfuse energy. You're just not going to get enough done in this fight. There's just no way. There is just no way at all. One more melee upgrades on the way up from Stephano too, so he's going to have an upgrade lead, and this has been an unsuccessful 2 racks for Clem. Stephano just held on, and I mean, he really threw a lot to hold on. But now as he comes in with the full surround, these units go down, and that's got to be a little bit of the nail sinking in towards the coffin right now, because Clem has just lost his army on the map, and that was the one thing which he maybe did have to do something with, but he's lost it. At this stage, Clem with a 3rd CC about to finish up. I mean, Clem is in a lot of trouble here. I was very hopeful about the follow-up attack. I felt the follow-up attack was the one reason I had some belief in Clem still in this game. I thought, Stephano, yes, he held off the 2 racks, but did he throw away too much? Does that make holding on to a follow-up very difficult? Obviously, the answer to that is no. He held onto this counter-attack very easily, and I still just wonder, what if those were Hellbats and he just attacked it a bit more confidently, a little bit more quickly? Obviously, that didn't happen. Hindsight and the caster's perspective obviously is a nice one to have, being able to see everything going on as Stephano spreading the creep out on the map. Stimpack coming up here from Clem as well, +1/+1 on the way through also. This Banshee is just microing away on the left hand side, gets picked off now, it also goes down, and just going to see those couple of Lings there. This hatchery is still low, but Queens with transfuses nearby, even if something did get on top of this. Have to be a little bit careful. One more upgrade's coming on through here. Still, combat shields is just starting up from Clem as well. He's going up to the 5 racks. His 3rd CC's in position. I mean, he's... you look at this and overall it's like, yeah, Clem, he's getting there. His couple of medevacs out. He's got stim. But when you think he's, the one that's behind an upgrade, Stephano has somewhat of the freedom to just do what he wants at this stage. He's very Ling heavy at the moment, Stephano, so maybe if Clem had enough units, he could punish the fact there wasn't enough Banes, but there isn't going to be enough Banes. Enough Marines, sorry, to kind of punish the lack of Bane speed, etc. here initially. Stephano has enough Lings to cover Clem's army if he tries to push right now, so... especially if the Queens get involved, target down the medevacs, then it becomes very difficult for Clem's army to do much. A couple of Trim Jimmers being picked away at here. Lings coming across the map, and they are going to be able to get rid of this siege tank and a few of those Marines, and they just have full access to the 3rd base. I mean, there's nothing here to defend for Clem. A few Marines are now coming over. A few of them are pulling back from the center of the map. SCV is going down as more Lings arrive. It's just going to be a full surround. I think Stephano has to try and do something. He gets into the natural and main. Okay, in that case, he's just going to try and buy time with these Lings up here. They're going to go down, but distracting the units just means that these SCVs will continue to drop. Lings all over the place right now, and Stephano is just bringing Clem down a notch. He's just not letting Clem have the economy which he wants to try and keep here. Clem needs nothing to go wrong for him in this game, and right now everything is going wrong for him. Big issues here for Clem. The Smallings are going to break on through this deeper wall on the top side, and that's just going to be... I mean, okay, he's going to turn that away, sure, but in the meantime, Stephano gets high. If he gets 2-2 finished, Banelin's speed is about to finish, and Clem is not cleaning up creep on the map. Stephano's in complete control at the moment. Complete control. Ling's working their way through these rocks, just opening up an easier, faster attack path towards the Zerg Terran base. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a ton of Banelings morphing in the next few moments and just busting through, although I guess if Hive's about to finish, why even do that? Why be, you know, overly aggressive when you can just sit back, continue to get your ultras out, just get yourself into an army composition that the Zerg is going, the Terran, sorry, is going to really struggle to deal with. It just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense to do that at all. So the Ling's coming around the top, and well, they're going to come through the center. The medevac actually pulls away there, boosting off and away. And down to the south side, you're just going to be seeing those Marines. Well, they have to lift up. They can't really do too much else, so they have to lift up and back away also. I mean, these couple of drops are just not going to be able to do anything either right now. So even these couple of drop ships are really just running into a bit of a brick wall when it comes to actually doing something now, in terms of actually finding Clem a way back into the game. Stephano's supply lead isn't insane because he has a lot of money in the bank because his Ultra Cavern's about to finish. He's starting up so many upgrades. Adrenal Glands, free. He's about to get Chitinous Plating. The Ultras will start in production soon. And all of these are just things which are just pushing Stephano further and further and further ahead in this TVZ. Getting into really just one of the most insane positions he can be in. A successful defense of the two racks really did just catapult him into the lead, and from there it really only got better for him. Moving on through. And Clem's work account is at least still there. If there's one chance Clem has in this game, it might just be to attack just before Ultras pop up here. You know, really in like the next couple of moments with everything. Like, I think he has to go with everything. If he goes with half-hearted army, I just don't think he's going to have, enough to really break through and to punish the Zerg player for going up to Ultras, or not punish him for going up to Ultras, but just hit before they're out, so that they're, the investment is there, but he's not actually benefiting from the investment yet. Clem's just afraid to push out, and you can imagine why. He's been playing from behind all game long. I mean, maybe he just wants to play a slow game and try and build up into like Liberators and Ghosts and just try to draw it out. Maybe hoping that if he can get to that stage, maybe he can just find good enough trades to keep him in this. I think run by down here gets another few units, but in general getting shut down. More Ultras. Greater Spire on the way too. Again, Stephano's just getting everything. Whenever Clem moves out, Stephano sees it because of all of this creep spread. And that's probably one of the reasons why Clem doesn't move out as well, right? Why would you move out if your opponent just has creep spread around the entirety of the map? It does make sense, because he's going to know the attack's coming. It's going to be very unlikely you get something done. And it's probably just going to be a loss of units for you. More Ultras coming out into the center. Lings and Banes also. As you are going to see those bio units dropping down here from Clem. And Queens and Ultras and Lings is going to come on. See what else is going to be happening. And a bit of back and forth here between the two of them. And you're going to see Creep still just pushing forwards. That Ultralisk is leading the charge in. Meanwhile, there's still a little bit of a run by going down over here. A couple of Ghosts that have just come out are going to get surrounded pretty quick, although the Lings actually get pushed off of that. He does kill the Siege Tank, and he does start to get some SCV kills. Stephano hits this base as well. The Planetary Fortress is going to be mass repaired. Only a couple of Ultras actually getting on top of it, trying to make room for more. The SCV repair is actually good for the moment. Oh, it's getting low now, though, as another Ultra comes in. A couple of Queens. Some snipes will come down. The Queens should be transfusing those Ultras. I mean, that's what they're here for. But one Ultra went down already, and the second Ultra might be about to. No, this time the transfuse does come into play. Man, free and kind is playing against a 2-2 Terran. That upgrade lead for Stephano is just insane, as these Ultras just throw themselves at the army of Clem right here. Again, Clem can only really look at this and say, man, yeah, I know you're probably playing a bit careless, because you're, definitely, because you're definitely ahead in this game, but god damn, like, if I didn't get into such a bad position with the two racks, I'd be stopping you if you played like this. That's got to be a little bit of a frustration for Clem, just watching Stephano just throw units so haphazardly, knowing that he's just far enough ahead, knowing he's got 5 bases along the right side, a 6 base forwards, access to a 7th and 8th base without even thinking about it. Clem has only got himself to blame. He chose the 2 racks, he didn't do it well enough to be able to break on through. Stephano held, and from there, even the follow-up from Clem at that point was a little bit weak, I feel, as we are going to see the Ultras coming in, and those Medivacs just lifting up the Marines. They're going to hop them up in towards the main base again. Ultras Cavern is going to be taking some more shots. Queen's transfusing. And Ultras Cavern will go down. Another command center on the south side, and we are going to be seeing Clem just still dropping around. I mean, killing the Ultra Cavern's cute, right? But a little bit too late when there's already, what, like 12 Ultras on the map? More ghosts from Clem, though. In fairness, it is now 15 ghosts in a moment or so, and that's going to be quite a lot to snipe on down. 15 ghosts sniping at a time. I mean, you can kill just less than... you can kill 5 Ultras at once. So 2 rounds of snipes, and all the Ultras will die if they're kind of spread perfectly and they all get to snipe. Obviously, that's the issue, right? How does that happen? Well, a lot of the time it just doesn't. Ghosts in the front are already going down, actually, as these Lings commit forwards, although a lot of them do melt, so it's still quite a lot of Lings to go down. Stephano with a bank, and we do see a little drop to the bottom right. Clem's staying in it, right? He is fighting his way back. He's getting rid of a couple of these drones. The carelessness of Stephano with some of his units early has given Clem some of these openings to work with. The biggest issue just being, oh my god, the Ultras are too fat to fit behind this mineral line. Well, that's just disgusting. Poor Ultras. They don't want to have to fight like this. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, I'm meant to kill them, but I can't fit, but I can't get there. Ah! I mean, Clem's biggest issue, I suppose, the lack of a 5th base, and he's going to try and alter that right now. Having further economy is going to be so important for him. I mean, slowing down some of the eco of his opponent here is great and all, but he needs more as these Ultras, they snipe down one of the Marines, but only one. The rest of them still just sat behind, and slowly but slowly they do kind of filter through. Clem not paying attention to it 100% of the time, although he does come in now and try and get that Queen. Transfusions were available, and Stephano keeps on transfusing to keep those Queens alive. Oh, the micro to keep that Queen just alive at the very end. Very nicely done. +1 ship weapons on its way through. The 5th base from Clem is going to be dropping down shortly. Oh, what are these couple of ghosts doing out over here? That's disastrous. Clem is not in a position to lose anything like that at the moment. Well, here we go with the big fight. These Ultras just suicide, though, man. They're fighting in on their own. Stephano can't just take trades where he just fights in, like, pure Ultra. He's got the greatest spy to drop Brutalors, by the way, but right now that doesn't seem to be mattering. Those Corruptors are going to get chased away. The Snipes are going to come down en masse, and Stephano's just lost so much. What on earth is Stephano doing? Like, I mean, like, you got to be kind of critical at some point, right? I mean, Initiative, I can get it, right? You're super far ahead. You can be a bit careless. Just get rid of the Terran player. But now Stephano, for the last few minutes, has just been throwing away units. He's just taken multiple fights, and he's just let Clem get up to this ghost count, which is massacring his units. Stephano's creep spread is getting pushed further and further back every second here, and the more it gets pushed back, the more Clem gets completely back in control of the game. A Liberator here and there now as well, just trying to do a little bit more. Going to push that Queen away. Actually, the Queen targets it, so it does go down. That's something at least, getting rid of that. Clem's army supply in a lead. Stephano has more or less used up his bank. What's super terrifying for me is the fact that he only has 4 Sword Broodlords, which I don't think are that many to be really terrifying. The Infestors are definitely a little bit more terrifying in this scenario. They are something which can definitely get quite a lot done. This Liberator is so nicely positioned, by the way. High ground, and it's just going to hide it here a little bit from Stephano. As the Corruptors come through, it will of course be a kill. Still just a nice little bit of harassment. Stephano has some more money in the bank again, so he's got some more reinforcements able to be spent here. But he's given Clem bases, and by giving Clem these bases on the south side, he's given Clem a completely direct route right back into this game. Stephano pulls away from this bottom right base, realizing that he just cannot keep this base alive. If Clem actually commits into the fight there, he's out of position, and his army's slow moving. He gave away those Ultras, arguably to maybe rebuild Corruptors and so, but he just didn't get anything done with it. Another wave of Lings, half of them going down as they just run into the Bio army already. Okay, they find themselves a couple of structures in the center of the map, but in the end, every Zergling falls again, and Stephano's not rich enough to replace these Zerglings even right now. You know, when you're losing like 30 Zerglings a pop, I mean, that's what, 15 rounds of 50? That's 750 minerals. Like, he barely has the bank to replace what he just lost there, and he's still not even maxed out. Clem might be on his way to winning this first game, but I really cannot say it in any other way than Stephano, I really think, gave this to him. He messed around for a little while. He really got very careless and hapless with a lot of his units, and I really feel as though I'm being extremely critical, and I just feel as though he thought he had the game in his bag, which I think he did. Just need to be a bit more careful and a bit more serious about how he fought it. Maybe just get a couple of infestors up earlier. Just make sure you had a counter to some of the ghosts somewhere along the way. Nuke's going to come down, just going to be seeing Clem pushing forwards a little bit here. Just needs to make sure he's not going to walk into his own nuke though. Clem. Cancels. Just at the last moment. By the way, the top of this really looks like a nuke dot. You know? It's kind of interesting. I wonder if you could put a nuke in a position that actually lets you, makes it look like it's right there. EMP's come down, hits a lot of the infestors. That was one of the moves that allowed Clem to take fights against Snoot earlier today when he 2-0'd him. There was a game that looked a little bit like this later on in the game against Snoot on Blackpink. And it was the EMPs and the infestors that were so critical towards the latter stages. 7 more Broodlords on the way up. I mean, that's an insane amount. What's interesting is he's getting rid of all his Corruptors as Liberators are coming out. And so there's not actually going to be any anti-air to deal with the Liberators. And that's going to be a little bit of an issue. And we've seen those Lings getting turned away at the front here for Stephano. They have to back away pretty quick. 5 more Libs, 3 more Ghosts on the way out. A few more of these units just backing away. Nice on siege on the tanks, so no friendly fire comes down. So you have to be so patient with things like this because you have to keep unsieging and re-sieging. It takes a lot of APM to keep up with it. A couple of tanks firing away, and already one Spore Crawler dropping down. I mean, the Ghosts want to try and grab a Broodlord too. We get a couple of them right away here. The Fungal Growth misses. The nuke comes down in a forward location. Is that Ghost going to stay alive? Actually snipes down the Viper. Fungal Growths are starting to land. The Broodlords are maybe starting to win out this fight. Actually, more snipes, but the Fungal Growth is good to cancel them. A lift up, an escape. The Fungal Growth is there to kind of slow down some of these medevacs, but it's not actually going to be a proper shutdown. Oh my god, one of those medevacs full of Ghosts does fall. Again, Clem has a bank, so he can sort of take some of these fights like this now, and he can afford to be pushed back a little bit. Resources lost has gone a lot better for Stephano in the last few moments. 28k to 26k after being 7,000 resources lost behind is actually quite the comeback. More fights like this, and Stephano still has this, but again, it's definitely a lot closer than we ever thought it was going to be based on how this game opened up. Just going to be seeing these Ghosts sniping away, and we do see a couple more Broodlords falling. Liberators sieging. This command center bottom side goes down. Top left, no CC here yet, and some Lings are going to try and block one from coming in as well. A lot of Liberators actually left on this base to defend. Interesting that he's committing so many Liberators right there. Especially the sort of like Liberator number you'd see if you maybe still were afraid of like Ultras, I feel like. Obviously that's not the case in this game as 2 more Broods getting sniped on down. He's going to find himself one more there. There's the Fungal Growth on that Infestor. Going to maybe have an EMP. I mean, he actually doesn't need it. A lot of those Infestors are just empty on energy already. Wow, he saves those Ghosts out of the medevac. That's extremely impressive because that was almost here like a goner. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy as we're going to be seeing these units from Stephano continue to push on forwards. Broodlords are going to be taking a little bit more damage. Some more snipes coming in here. Clem continue to push Stephano back once again. A lot of these Spore Crawlers again picked away at, and these couple of 4s, they're doing a lot right now to kind of pick their way through a little bit more of this. More snipes potentially coming down. Gets another Broodlord. More Fungal Growth just massing on up. These Infestors are out of energy again though. Corruptors come through. Kill a medevac which lifts up a few Ghosts. Clem's out of money. And Stephano still has a bank behind it. What's Clem's Ghost count? Only 7. I think that might be his biggest issue here. He doesn't have the Ghost to really push through those Broodlords anymore. 4 more Broods on the way up just to the left side of this. This Orbital is not going to get any progress down here because this base is still in position. You're going to be seeing a nice little snipe cancelling a couple of Broodlords. Issue of cancelling them is that Stephano gets the money back, and a couple of those, they're actually going to finish up and heal back up to full. Clem has to hold on to this base down here. This Orbital, seeing this base on the bottom right is Stephano's. Stephano's starting to establish bases up to the top. Clem is maxing out once again. Again, just has just enough income here to justify his position in the game. It's a nice kill on the hatchery if he gets it, actually, because it is going to stop a lot of Stephano's gas income from this bottom right base. There's still quite a bit of gas to be mined from here. You can afford position, as we do see a lot of Lings looking for a counter-attack. It's important for Stephano to spend some minerals throughout the course of this game, because otherwise later in the game, he will just have too many minerals left over, and at that stage counter-attacking can do a lot less, or be a lot less effective, or not even effective, but just a lot less useful, I suppose. You know, it can still get the same damage done, but that damage later doesn't really matter as much. These things are really annoying, getting all the way up in towards the main. Clem really failing to raise these depots. There's a big issue. I mean, they should be kind of raised as soon as you see this attack hit in the front. I guess, you know, if you want to get a few units down, in the end he'll clean up without too much issue. There is a lot of Liberators sieged up here as the Broodlords are pushing forward. Some of these units starting to get back in position. There's a lot of infested Terrans to break through the Liberators in location. Right now, Clem is struggling a little bit against the Broodlord count. The Broodlings are just straight up pushing Clem backwards. Stephano with nothing in production at the moment. 2.5k, 2.5k in the bank though. Just needs to find out what he wants to spend his money on. A couple of snipes do just get off here, and Infestor getting EMP'd. That Ghost cloaks up, but in range of a Spore Crawler doesn't make a difference. Just one of those reactionary things as Clem just trying to figure out what he can do. Some Vikings show up, but I mean the Liberators, the Corruptors are going to be able to push them away. Actually misses out on a snipe there. That's a lot of snipes on Broodlords, but they're all spread out. Now if he gets a bit of a follow-up here, he will kill some of the Broods. Stephano pushed back on 150 supply. Now he has to start thinking about what he actually does want to rebuild, because he's going to start losing his static defense here, and Clem is pressing forwards. 10 more Corruptors on the way, 4 more Infestors. Clem's going to get this base which just rebuilt from Stephano in the bottom right-hand corner, so this base just finished rebuilding, and it will now go down. Clem wants it, even if it's already mined from. It's more minerals for him, and he's so eager to hold onto this base that for now, holding onto this base as a follow-up is much easier than moving up to the top side of the map, which is so easy for Stephano to hit with run-by after run-by after run-by. Infestors are low on energy as well, still from the previous fights. The Broodlord count really isn't there right now to just push the Ghosts back, really. I mean, the Broodlings were doing such a great job before because they're in high enough of a number. Suddenly Stephano loses the bottom right bases 28 minutes into the game. He does have the top left starting to be under his control, but he's going to need that very soon. And with Stephano being pushed back, suddenly Clem might be able to start pushing the top side because he doesn't have to worry about defending this base as much, because Stephano's army isn't positioned to attack that base any longer.
Game paused.
All right. Resume T in just a moment. And let's see how this goes. We're going to be seeing these few circles going down the center of the map. More Lings coming up to the top. Clem moving through over to the left-hand side. And that's what I mean. He can switch up the momentum now. He can hit the bases that are important to Stephano. And he's already going to start working his way through some of this economy. Drones don't actually know which way they want to go. And that's not pretty. The Ling is actually going to be here to tank some of these Liberator shots. Sort of saving the day. So a few drones going down, and again, Clem moving up in this position. Stephano's creep is pushed all the way back now. A couple of EMPs coming down, trying to chase down some of these Infestors on the tail end. And I like the snipe as well, just picking off what he can. Stephano is drained of gas, by the way. Losing those bottom right bases has been huge for him. EMPs come down, there's no follow-up for the Ghosts. You lose a couple, but I think it's worth it to EMP those Infestors. It makes Clem so much more viable in terms of pushing forwards in the next few moments. It's talking about the lack of Broodlords. Well, Stephano fixed that, but that's where his gas went. And as this top left base is no longer mining, where is Stephano's gas income coming from? This base here has a bit left on it too. But that's it. 2 bases of gas income is not a lot. It really isn't. There's so many Liberators on this south side, by the way. We're going to see this orbital will be protected here in a moment. He's going to slowly work his way through these bases, and now Clem, again, in control. Stephano has to have his army up here, and Stephano's army isn't mobile enough to keep on hitting this bottom right base again and again and again. The nuke coming down, Stephano just cancels the extractors. They're going to die if this nuke goes off, so now Stephano has 1 base of gas mining, and he's so starved for gas. He is in so much trouble. Clem has been on the brink of defeat in this game. About 20 minutes ago, I saw no way back into it for him. I thought Stephano had it, and Clem has turned around an absolute miracle. That's an EMP hunting Ghost right there. He lands it. These Marines going to be in some trouble to these couple of Lings that are running by again. These Ling run by, but at the end of the day, are they really that significant, picking off a few Marines? It's like minerals for minerals. The kind of units that neither player cares about. And for Stephano, he needs something more than units that Clem doesn't care about. The Infestor Fungal could be huge there. It hits the front half of this army, which is a frustration, but it's not game-ending yet. That goes to the front. It's just somehow going to pull far enough back. He's looking for a couple of fungal growths. The EMPs are good, though, and now the Infestor's out of energy as they drop some Infested Terrans down. You know what, guys? There's no anti-air here anymore, so even just a couple of libs and a Viking pushing forwards. The few Infested Terrans are actually going to start stopping this, but the Ghosts are on the hunt. They're looking for the snipes. The Broodlord goes down. He needs to be able to fight this. Here come the Corruptors in from the right-hand side. Snipes are coming down. Marines are stimming. Is the Marine firepower enough here? It might be, because the Broodlords aren't dropping enough Broodlings, and I think Clem breaks through on the ground. There's a Spine Crawler, which actually might start to make a difference. These Marines need to keep fighting Broodlings. The Broodlord count is so low. Some snipes keep on coming in. He backs away. Clem has to turn away. He cannot stick around here, and he's lost a lot in the process. These last few ghosts need to stay alive. One more goes down as the Broodlords drop down a final set of Broodlings. Again, a few more Marines down to the south side. Planetary Fortress here. We're going to be seeing an orbital in the far bottom right corner. Going to be coming up in the next couple of moments. Top left-hand side, Stephano's mining away with just a couple of workers here or there, looking to see what he can try and do. A few Marines are going to be spreading out in different directions. Lings of Stephano also obviously also going to be looking to try and find a little bit of something. This game is ongoing, guys. Clem lost this base down bottom right. Maybe it was time for him to take this base up here while he made this push forwards. It could have been mining for a while. Not sure if Clem even knows about the top left base. He doesn't. Probably doesn't expect Stephano to have it. These players are absolutely drained in terms of what they have in terms of money. But 10 Infestors and 9 Broods is still scary, but 15 Ghosts. It just comes down to the engagement so heavily here. And Stephano, he only just managed to hold on in this position. I even think having this Spine Crawler genuinely might have changed things just a little bit, because it was starting to one-shot some Marines, and that's just crazy. Like, that's really just crazy. We are going to be seeing these units just gathering on the right-hand side. I don't think the right-hand side is worth attacking for Clem, unless he really just thinks he needs to defend this base. More units coming down towards the bottom right-hand side. A Ghost and a Viking on the way up in production. Units from Clem spreading out just a little bit. We are going to be seeing the Liberator in the top left-hand side is going to siege up and picks away at a couple of bits and pieces. Finally finding this base here, knowing it's there. Thing is, Stephano's back on this gas, so now he has a bit more gas income, which is needed because this gas is mined out. But he's also on this gas income, and that's fresh. And if that doesn't get denied, that's a massive issue for Clem, because Clem cannot afford Stephano to build up too much here, and he really is starting to build up quite a bit. Starting to making some bailings right now. Units from Clem coming back towards the upper left. At least Clem gets this bottom right base set up. So he has got some more of his own mining ready to go again. So he's got a bit more income to work with. This base is going to be mining out shortly. 300 gas remaining. Again, I think you just have to try and take this base. There's nothing actually stopping Clem take this base at the moment. The MP is coming down. Those fungals are nice, but they don't kill anything yet. Those first couple of snipes were good on the Broodlords. Yeah, I don't think there's anything actually denying this base apart from the single Ling. I really feel Clem could at least attempt to take it with an orbital. It's not ideal, but even if you mine from it for just a few moments, it's better than just having these SCVs do nothing at all. Clem finds himself in the same position he was in before. He needs to clean out this top left base. He does not want Stephano to continue with this right here. Like, he just cannot allow Stephano to keep this base up and for it to mine longer, any longer than it needs to. He needs to deny this ASAP. A lot more Lings on the way from Stephano. Army supplies are dead even. It's going to be an Infested Terran and a couple of Corruptors to clean out the Liberator leading the charge here. A couple of Corruptors are sniped down here, though. And that maybe opens the way towards something else. The EMPs are huge, but the Fungal Grove is even larger. Somehow the Medivacs lift up those units and get them away. There's so many Zerglings. The Broodlings are coming through as well. Clem and Stephano are completely clashing here. There's a couple of Lings on the back side. Infested Terrans are going to save the Broodlords from the Vikings. Once more, Stephano is just about held on and cleaned up, and this time, with the economy still coming through on this base, it might just be the difference in this game. This Medivac actually unloaded, and those Ghosts try to fight. GG from Clem. Still put it a little bit on Stephano. I still feel Stephano was the one who Made a couple of mistakes here and there that gave Clem the way back in, that opened the door. I mean, he was like 6 bases against the 4 base-ish Terran, because he kept denying the 4th too. It's a little bit scary here and there. So guys, with game number 2 underway, let's get into it. And already a pool first here from our pink Zerg top left, Stephano. And to the bottom right hand side, it is the red Terran player from XCD Sports, Clem. Clem played well. I mean, you have to give it to him. You know, a lot of the fights were very well executed. A lot of the fights were great. At the very end, a couple of fights, Stephano just really overwhelmed him a little bit at the end. And I think it was one of those moments where Clem got a little bit desperate, right? Because he got into that position where all of a sudden he had to do something because Stephano had 2 bases. So he's forced to push up there a lot more aggressively than before. He doesn't really have any income of his own any longer. And so he's forced to try and take a fight, whereas usually he might have backed away a bit more and just traded out slowly. And that was the difference there at the very end, I feel. That Clem just had to kind of, again, he was just forced a little bit into what was going to happen. So, jumping into game number 2, let's see what Clem can do if, again, he doesn't 2 racks at the start and fall behind. Let's see how this game in general opens. He is SCV scouting, so you will be able to see the pool first and be aware of potentially Zerglings on the map. As we get set up and rolling into this game number 2. I'll just like to remind you guys as well, if you're enjoying the stream, hit that follow button, see when we're going live again in the future of more StarCraft 2 action live right here on the channel. And of course, if you're really enjoying the stream, you can do all of the usual to support, and etc, such as subscribing, donating, cheering. All goes a long way to allow me to continue casting StarCraft 2 on a regular basis. So, do consider that, and have to do some salads every now and then. Lings are about to arrive. I mean, Clem sort of knew about it. He catches 3 links to the right, but there is 3 links to the left. So it's going to be these links coming in. He gets rid of an SCV, as he does raise the depots here, and this Reaper is going to come back. Small delay, but of course Stephano went into a pool first to make this happen, so far from the end of the world. As we're just going to be seeing, oh, the next SCV might be in trouble too. He might actually have to kind of loop around and run away with it. A couple of lings left here at the moment. And he is going to get back to mining building shortly. Ooh, that SCV is so low. Run, SCV, run. He's got 1 more hit left in him. He's going to be okay. And he does get building. Alright, at the same time, Clem is doing what he did very well against Snoot, which is to stop that 3rd hatch coming up. Although Stephano, is very quick to just respond by moving over to the other side and throwing down a hatchery over here instead. So just popping this down on the left-hand side and just going to be stand up into this. A couple of Hellions from Clem just moving around slightly and seeing what's up. Reaper will join up as well, and the SCV cancel that engineering bay, realizing Stephano expanded on the other side. There's no reason to keep that there. The sooner you get your minerals back, the sooner you can invest it into something else back at home. Cloak Banshee on the way up, so Clem really just going back into what we saw him doing against Snoot earlier today, which obviously worked wonders for him to take that series 2-0. So going in towards that, we've got to look at this as a definite kind of good sign for Clem's point of view, because if he used this to beat Snoot, Stephano is definitely within reach in terms of being beaten with it. We're going to be seeing this Banshee is about to finish up for Clem, and another couple of Hellions popping out. Keeping this Hellions back at home just in case of Ling run by is not going to let Stephano try and sneak a cheeky win in by just grabbing a whole bunch of damage super early in this game. So really just keeping his Hellions back at home and cautious of something like that potentially happening here. Pushing forwards a few Hellions. And be obviously just trying to see what they can do. A couple of Cyclones as well. I mean, this is starting to be a bit more aggressive than what we saw from Clem earlier. SCVs will come forwards to kind of continue this here, and the Cyclones will be seen. That's actually a big scout for Stephano, because now he knows the potential of what's coming his way. Maybe he even needs a Roach Roaring to help him defend this, or he just needs the extra set of Lingers to make sure he can get the full surround and truly shut this down before the damage starts to rise up a little bit too much. He does go into missile upgrades, so that's obviously a little bit of a different route here from what we saw previously. As you are going to see that first Queen. Transfused, of course. Spot Crawlers in the Mineralize. The Banshee just trying to get some energy here and there. And a second Banshee coming along will also just cloak up immediately. Again, just finding damage wherever you can as the Hellions come forwards. I mean, if you can find a fight on some of these Queens, it'd be nice. This Sport Crawl is going to force the Banshee to the left-hand side, just gets out of range. Although that Banshee is also very low anyways, and very low on energy. Sport will relocate again. This Banshee could definitely get a couple of worker kills now, but maybe wants to target the Queens, bring them low to force transfusions to help out this kind of Hellion Cyclone potential attack here. As we do see them coming up to the top side, a couple of creep tumors going down. Some more creep going to be spread out on the map here by Stephano. A couple of Banshees pushed all the way over to the left. So they're going to have to come all the way around this left-hand side here. An Orbital on the way up on the natural. Again, an Armory just starting up now from Clem with another couple of factories on the way. A couple of factories going to try and drop down onto the tech clouds, get a couple of siege tanks on the way through, and that's going to be seeing Clem. He's about to get an Armory, by the way, as well, so he's about to have the potential of going into Hellbats. That's kind of terrifying for Stephano, who's only just now building 5 Roaches. This is a very powerful push. There's also a Raven here. A single anti-armor missile could really help against some of these Queens. What does he do? He doesn't actually do anything with it just yet. Maybe keeping it for something a little bit more clumped up. Maybe even just the Roaches. Uses it to get rid of some of the creep spread, though, and that is a nice way of being able to get some damage dealt here. Big spread out from Stephano to minimize what that Raven will hit with the anti-armor. Couple of 4s now on the way out. Another couple of Hellions coming through. I like what Clem is doing. He's really just keeping Stephano so very busy with this set of units. And Stephano's making macro mistakes because of it. He's supply blocked. He's got money in the bank because he's supply blocked. He can't build anything else. And while Stephano's upgrades are looking fantastic, while his Roaches keep pouring out here, Clem's just setting up into this mech style very quickly, very happily. And doesn't really seem to be slowed down by much at all. Units lost 5 drones to 3 SCVs, 21 links to 2 Hellions. It's a very low kind of lossage game, but where the losses have been coming through, it has been favouring Clem. So as 4s come out, what is scary is that because Clem's retained a lot of the units, as we've just seen, the potential of like a Hellbat 4 attack is very powerful, right? I mean, you come into this scenario where there's a couple of 4s, a bunch of Hellbats, and then you need to take on a whole fight, whereas if you kill the Hellions early, the 4s are just going to harass as 4s alone with a couple of medevacs to drop around. Just going to be seeing those Hellions still gathered up on the right side. Some more Zerglings to Stephano. Top right and continuing to run around here. Hellions and a couple of Banshees coming in towards the middle of the map, and there's just a Raven to pick away through a couple of these creep tumors. One creep tumor goes down. 2 more creep tumors going to go down. 2 4s also coming in towards the middle of the map. Tunnel Claws on the way up from Stephano, Hydralist Den, Infestation Pit. Well, here's this kind of larger push we're talking about. A couple of Banshees here to help out as well. Anti-armor missile on the back, Roaches, but not a lot of them. Only a handful there actually getting tagged by that. Another one into the center. That's a few more, but doesn't matter at this stage. A lot of units have already gone down. The 4s have to start lifting, but the medevacs are not pulling backwards. And that means that we are going to be seeing the 4 and the medevac going down there. And that is a shame. He's actually going to keep his Banshees after the Roaches, because after losing so many units here, Stephano has enough to just push around over to the right-hand side. A few Zerglings as well coming on along, and as we see the Roaches coming across, Clem just doesn't have anything to hold on to this. He's fallen apart completely in this second game, and Stephano is just absolutely crushing these attacks so far. Very nicely done. The micro was better from Stephano, the control in the fights. Good splits to minimize anti-armor missile damage until it didn't really matter so much. And I mean, at this stage now, he's already cleaned out the third base. It has to lift up here soon. That 4 is so low. Obviously, the medevacs can micro it. He isn't quite going to break through the natural, but he is in complete control of this game, and Clem knows it. GG. Stephano qualifies for the WCS EU Challenger.